Greetings and namaste. This is Tim Halloran with a weekly astrology forecast. This is the third week of February. Today is Tuesday the 18th. The moon's now in Libra. She moves into Scorpio Wednesday, Sagittarius on Saturday, and Capricorn on Monday. And right now as we speak, the sun is moving into Pisces, which means 1 month from today will be the spring equinox. And after a long cold winter, there is nothing more refreshing and uplifting than springtime, where oftentimes we see all that hard work pay off, and all of the stuff that's been changing beneath the surface gives birth to a plant that finally pokes its head from the surface. That being said, there is so much happening now in these next couple months. It's a very action-full time. There's a lot of creative tension. There's a lot of transformation happening. And it can seem very disorienting and chaotic, sort of, in the midst of this process, which is right now, because we're still not entirely seeing on the surface everything that is changing beneath right now. So what's going on astrologically? Well, the moon is going to be forming the fourth point in a grand kite today, and this fourth point is going to be where various planets are going to be moving through the next couple months, creating a lot of intensity. A grand kite is the most intense aspect in astrology because there are 4 planetary bodies that are pulling and pushing in opposite directions, and incorporating them together, finding the one uniform purpose, the one creative potential, the goal, the dream, can be very challenging with this aspect. That being said, there's enormous potential with this aspect for there to be a great abundance of energy and, creative capability with this aspect. So 10 degrees of the cardinal signs in your birth chart is the area that is most affected by this grand kite formation that we will be feeling on and off throughout the next few months. So last week we had a full moon in Leo on Valentine's Day, bringing in a lot of energy, fiery energy. It was trine to Mars, it was square to Saturn, There's a lot of solar plexus energy right now. People are discovering their roles, who they really want to be, what they really want to do, and it's not coming served on a silver platter, of course, because of this intensity, us being pulled in different directions. We have a Mercury retrograde happening right now, and Mercury is square to Saturn today. Challenges, computer malfunctions, miscommunications, differentiations with you and the boss, trouble with homework and school. It's very difficult to incorporate these different parts of ourselves. How do I balance school and work and job and money with my family, my friends, and my spiritual goal? How can all of these things come together into one single person, one single role? And that's what we're trying to do. And it's not necessarily coming without challenge. We do have Lilith square the moon's nodes. I'm going to be talking about Lilith because Lilith is definitely the challenge in a lot of respects right now. So Wednesday, the moon's going to come around conjunct Mars and Vesta. And Mars and Vesta are on the north node right now. The north node's moving from Scorpio into Libra. Scorpio is much more inward. The last 1.5 years has been very inward, introverted, figuring out our own stuff. Now it's culminating into this time of we're trying to go extroverted now. We're trying to teach and preach and build outwardly everything that we've realized we want to accomplish recently, over the last year. It's starting to change, it's starting to get extroverted. That's why it's intense. That's why there's energy buildup and possible explosions, because we're not used to channeling that much energy in this way, and we're having to adjust. Those planets, Moon, Vesta, and North Node, are also going to be trine to the Sun, now entering Pisces. It's about incorporating this will with our dreams, with our goals. Okay? And then this Sunday, the Sun's going to come around and conjunct Neptune. And the North Node's going to be exactly conjunct Vesta. Sunday is an excellent time to meditate. Do your spiritual practice. Get in touch with these goals. So Vesta on the North Node, Mars on the North Node. Vesta is the high priestess. And she is, perfect, really. Very, very austere, Vesta. You know, she's the keeper of the flame. These ancient high priestesses, it was, you know, they were celibate. They had to be virgin. They often took vows of silence under threat of death. It was very austere to be in that position. And that's what Vesta is conjunct Mars in the North Node. What we're trying to build, what we're trying to be right now is be this Vesta. We're trying to perfect ourselves. We're trying to get into this perfect, nice, you know, role of being a leader, of being the priest or priestess. You know, it's more than just being a leader, it's being a spiritual leader. What does it take to be a spiritual leader? You know, sacrifice, compassion, all of these things is what we're striving for right now. And Mars being conjunct, we're channeling again this solar plexus energy wants to be aligned with that. But why might it be difficult for this to happen? Well, we have Lilith square to Mars, square to the moon's nodes. Mars has been chasing Lilith over the last few weeks, and now Mars is slowing down. He's going to go retrograde for a few months, in a couple weeks. So Lilith's going to get away, move into Leo soon. It's again going to be about revising our roles, how we see ourselves, our solar plexus, our alignment with our spiritual goals. But Lilith being square the moon's nodes. You know, not all astrologers focus on Lilith as much as I do, but Lilith is super important in my readings because Lilith is that part that oftentimes gets forgotten. Lilith is the suppressed, taboo, old, matriarchal, suppressed feminine. She is the truth, the understanding, the compassion, the love that got separated from the truth, the compassion, the understanding, the love that we like to see it. We say, oh, well, you look different, so we're not going to include you with truth, compassion, understanding, and love. Although she certainly is those things. Lilith is Mother Kali. Most people are turned off the second they see Mother Kali. That's because Mother Kali is what she is. She is the taboo. She's the left-hand path. She is oftentimes associated with the shadow, with the stuff in yourself that you don't want to look at because you're afraid to. It's where you got suppressed. It's where you got hurt in the past. And you don't want to look at those wounds again. It's very easy to want to suppress this part of ourselves because there is so much pain associated there. But her being square to the moon's nodes right now, if you want to get to Vesta, if you want to get to Mars in Libra, if you want to be the person who is leading, who is perfected, who's a spiritual teacher, you must be so sincere with your shadow. You must acknowledge Lilith. You cannot suppress your own taboo nature. You cannot suppress your own feminine, black, dark, mysterious nature, even in the spiritual world. And here's the real thing, you know, when you start actually doing spiritual work, it is going into this wounded, dark area in yourself to purify yourself, to heal yourself, so you can become the perfected true being that you know that you are. But there are still a lot of people who don't want to do that. They're afraid. They want to shut it away. They don't want to look there. You know, it's like the, no, I'm not going to go there. If you're going to be the person you want to be, you know, if you want to lead and do spiritual work, you know, if you want to be a beacon of love, you have to be sincere with all of yourself, everything. It's so important for us to get in touch with this Lilith in ourselves, to heal it in ourselves, to reconnect with it in ourselves, because then we get over it. It's not such a big deal anymore. And, you know, when you are connected with your own shadow and you allow yourself to see your own shadow, it's easier to see the shadow in other people. So you cannot even expect for other people to follow you or to, you know, see your truth if you're refusing to look at your own shadow, because they will see it. You have to be real, you know? So when you get an ego bruise and you see someone being insincere, it's also your duty to let them know that. And you know, with the transits and the Lilith being as she is, it's really possible to be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna, oh no, tear you to shreds. And maybe it's okay to maybe, you know, channel this Lilith in the most prim and proper way. Well, it sort of feels to me as though you are disregarding something. Well, it sort of seems like there's something being missed here. You know, there's a polite way to direct people towards their own shadow. And as we're doing this for ourselves, we're doing this for each other too. People are bringing up their ego stuff. People are bringing up their shadow stuff. And this is good. This is a noble role. We shouldn't be steering away from it, you know? So as we talk about all of these goals, these really far out things, love, kindness, happiness, compassion, we must also be talking about the dark things, the ego stuff, the shadow stuff. You know, it's not about ignoring that aspect of reality. You aren't raising your vibration by ignoring that aspect of reality. So we need to tune into the whole of everything. Don't disregard the part of yourself that's not perfect, is Lilith. Get into the part of yourself that's not perfect too. Be a human being, and people will find that naturally attractive. People will be more inclined and more drawn and think you are a more loving, real, connected person if you're sincere with your mistakes, as well as, oh, look at me, you know? With the Leo, it's very easy to be like, oh, look at me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to accomplish this. You know, I'm very strong, I got this, we're going to do it. You know, I see so many people, they have the idea that they can just will themselves places. Well, if I just think that I am this strong enough and I think it and repeat it enough times, it's true. And they're ignoring everything else that's going on in them. When we learn to listen to ourselves, our bodies, our minds, and spiritual messages, it means we're not ignoring anything, irrelevant of what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. We are not ignoring, we are not suppressing anything. So when we get angry, it's okay. When we get sad, it's okay. We should want these feelings to come up. It is Lilith. She is teaching us about our own stuff. And then Lilith is not a problem. It's not a problem to have an ego. It's not a problem to be passionate. You know, it's power, and power is not a problem. That's a lot of what we're realizing with this Leo stuff, having to balance an ego, to have an ego and to be a spiritual person at the same time. A lot of people are still stuck in the idea that we need to kill off our ego and just no matter what, it's just like, oh, okay, you're the best. Oh, okay, yes, yes, of course, do whatever you want, please. Oh yeah, no problem. I'm always going to be happy and no matter what. And I'm never going to judge anybody. It's total horseshit. You can't be that person just by skipping to it. You know, everyone's just like, oh, don't judge me, don't judge me. Well, judgment is I'm seeing something in you that is a reflection of me. And if there's something that bothers me about you, you're teaching me about myself and vice versa, you know? If you're upsetting me for whatever reason, I'm doing the same thing for you. It's not a problem. It's the difference between judgment, the way people like to use that word, and what I'm talking about is judgment is you're good or bad. Oh no, she messed up. I'm not going to associate with her anymore. That's judgment. What I'm talking about is like, I don't really, you know, I'm not in favor of what she's doing. You know, it makes me feel bad. I don't want to be around her right now until she's worked through her stuff. And then we can, you know, reconnect, because we do have a loving relationship on a deeper level, but I can't deal with the pain right now. That's not the same. That's okay. It's okay to have, you know, chemical reactions with people. You are a chemical reaction with people. You're not ignoring that. You can't get away from that fact. You can't just will yourself into a perfect role. You have to be sincere with your mind, with your thoughts, your feelings, everything. Don't hide it, don't suppress it, and then we can work our way towards Vesta. Then we can be the perfected being, we can work towards our goals, and who knows? Maybe it will include everything. Maybe it will have love and our goals and our egos too. Wouldn't that be a far out idea if our egos and God could exist eternally side by side? So, let's not take everything on a surface level. Let's be sincere with all of our feelings. Let's be sincere with what we do want. Let's be sincere with our egos. Let's not be afraid of our egos. Let's embrace our egos. Let's strive to be perfect. Let's strive to be the nice, good, spiritual teacher. Embodies all the qualities of what makes a person spiritual. Humility, compassion, forgiveness. And let's also be sincere with the part of ourselves that may not want to forgive, that may not want to be compassionate, okay? We're not perfect yet. And we can't be perfect until we acknowledge everything. Because maybe the part of ourselves that does not want to be compassionate is still in service of compassion, you know? Maybe the fact that you want to smack her in the face is because you love them. Yeah, it's weird, and a lot of people don't say it like that, but it's true. So, you know, big stuff happening beneath the surface, a lot of energy, you know. Fourth quarter moon's going to be in Sag, the full moon was in Leo, the next new moon's going to be in Pisces. We're still giving birth to the dream, and the dream has got to be grounded in reality. The dream's got to be in contact with who we really are. We can't just fantasize all the time and expect that one day all of a sudden our fantasies will become real. So we're doing the work right now, and it is a little intense sometimes, but it's the real work, you know. It's doing what you're actually here to do. It is actual productivity. Sometimes actual productivity doesn't feel the most comfortable, but sometimes the most productive things are the most uncomfortable. So there's so much potential right now, and we're interacting with each other on a whole new level. The North Node's moving into Libra. It's going to be very, very, very much about interactions with other people, chemical reactions. You bring up this with me, but we're trying to form a community where we can all be balanced, we can all be equal. That's going to take time. That's going to take some waving around. So let's be patient, and let's be forgiving with ourselves and other people. And let's use all this intensity and all this energy to, you know, make changes. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. Don't be afraid to hear somebody else's. And we can bring it all together at the end of the day and truly change things in the direction that we really want as a collective. Okay? So that was a rant. And very much love. Do stay centered in your heart. Raise that energy up. And soon enough we'll be where we want to be. Wishing you the very best, and I'll be talking to you next week. Namaste.